Hey Farmington River kids, Mr. Keller here in another edition of A Day in the Life of Mr. Keller. Today we're going to look at a 18th century colonial garden that I've been building. So this garden is, I'm in year 7 of a 10-year project, and all of the plants and all of the flowers are from the 1700s. And they'll have either some kind of medicinal value or you just eat them. Lots of veggies too. So here's our front gate. A lot of this garden was inspired by the gardens of Colonial Williamsburg. I like this system here. This is a cannonball weight. It closes the door behind you with the weight of the cannonball. Okay, so these beds here are this lower part of the garden is mostly for flowers. We have some echinacea starting here. This is going to be a purple flower, also called cone flowers. This was like the vitamin C of the 18th century. And over here we have daisies and black-eyed Susans with some snapdragons in here too. All of these found in 18th century gardens. And over here, this is mainly a spice bed. This is going to have rosemary, thyme, sage. It's also here has bergamot, which was used to brew tea when we were boycotting tea during the Revolutionary War. We've got some yarrow started here too. That's a great one if you got an injury to stop the bleeding with. And of course marigolds. Marigolds are used can be used in the process of making cheese, but beautiful flower, and mosquitoes hate them. And then apple tree right in the middle here with a nice strawberry bed. Look at all those flowers. They're going to be delicious strawberries. My chipmunks don't get to them first. And over here on this giant stone monolith, we have coming back our lavender. And lavender produces a beautiful purple flower, what was often used to spread on the floors of homes, and you step on them and you make the floors smell nice, and use them in soaps, and you put your linens away with them. Over here we have a wattled fence with mainly here we have hollyhock, and nice get to be 7 feet tall, some beautiful flowers, and this bed's waiting to have its a bunch of different types of lettuce transplanted into it, and some veggies. Then we've got our cold frame, which will have just Swiss chard starting in it now, and this is where I start my perennials too. And we've got a warm frame, and that has the started lettuce. Way over here we've got some lupin, and we have foxglove digitalis, which was used to slow your heart rate down during when you had scarlet fever. Today it's used for heart medicines. All right, we got our bean poles. We got beans, pole beans growing up. I like to use scarlet runner beans, 18th century bean, with an edible, really pretty red flower. In this bed here, I've got my peppermint that's taking over. That's going to have to be all dug out. Lamb's wool. We have lots of different things here. Here we have tansy, which will grow almost 4 or 5 feet tall. This is used in omelets in the 18th century. Of course, chives, a little spice. And up the steps we go here, we have mainly our veggies. Tomatoes, tomato frames. Now this is a grape and hops trellis, which I am actually rebuilding this week. And these are grapes, and all these will climb up the sides so you can enjoy some shade this summer. Here and back here we have, that is a hops plant, and that's used in the brewing of beer. The buds from that mixed in with some grapes. And over to here we have our bed for carrots. Potatoes here planted nice and deep with a layer of straw down over them too. So an old timer's trick. Lots of peppers, raised bed for peppers. And over here we have the snow pea frame, and they're just starting up. And on the other side once they get going and are done earlier in the season, we have the cucumbers growing on the other side. And over here we have some lupins and a pot, a wooden pot with a lemon verbenum and very lemony type plants. Lemon balm also. They smell like candy drops, the leaves. And fire pit. This is used mainly for just camping out, but I like to heat up water too. And the trick I do is to kill weeds in between stonework is pour hot water on them. But I like to cook here and hang out by the fire. And almost done. All of this, most of the stone, Goshen stone. This was delivered in enormous slabs with a dump truck, and I had to split the slabs up, and then I had to then split them into usable stones. Now here we have Benson. He's my loyal scarecrow, and he's watching over a whole bed of flax. There'll be beautiful blue and red flowers, but this plant has in its straw-like stems a type of thread. It's called tow, and that can be turned into linen and clothing. Mainly, cotton was pretty expensive in the 1700s here in the Berkshires, and most of our clothing was made out of this linen. Okay, we have the climbing beans from on top here, and we have some more tomatoes, and we have some lilies, and of course, although it's wrapped around, we have our Grand Union flag. It was a pretty windy day today. And then as a border, we have some cherry trees. There goes flag. We have cherry trees and apple trees. This tree was given to me by a 6th grade class about 10 years ago. I love that tree the best. Cherry and apple all the way down the line, and nectarine. And there you have it. Mr. Keller's 18th century garden. And out we go to the south gate. And then my gravestone's far in the distance there. All right, kids. Have a wonderful week. This is Mr. Keller signing off for another episode of A Day in the Life of Mr. Keller.